Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst. Before we get rolling, I suggest you click into the settings to 1.25 or 1.5. All right, let's get into this week's mock. Also, you can follow along with the mock through the links below. Follow along on the website. So first overall pick, I have the Lions taking Kayvon Thibodeaux, defensive end from Oregon. Give them a Khalil Mack type edge rusher. Really improve their defense. They need to improve the pass rush. They got to improve the playmaking on that side of the ball. Thibodeaux would definitely help. Second overall, I have the Eagles taking Adam Anderson, edge rusher from Georgia. Another dynamic quarterback hunter, fast, freak athlete, kind of similar to Brian Burns coming out of Florida State. And the Eagles could use more young pass rush talent with Derek Barnett hitting free agency, Brandon Graham nearing the end of his good part of his career, and they could use a guy to go with Josh Sweat across from him. Third overall, I have the Texans taking Matt Corral, quarterback from Ole Miss. Obviously, they're going to need a future franchise quarterback when they trade Deshaun Watson. I don't think Davis Mills will probably play well enough over the back half of this season to take that job, so I think they look to get a future franchise quarterback. Corral has dynamic dual threat ability, very good runner, also has been accurate, has really improved his decision making and ball security this season, so I definitely think he could be a guy that rises through the process, especially if he interviews well. Fourth overall, I have the Jets taking Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame. Obviously, Marcus May could be gone and could be traded or just not re-signed, and Kyle Hamilton's just the best player available. The Jets need some dynamic game changers on their defense. They really could use a guy on the back end that's versatile, like a guy like Hamilton that can be that deep free safety, can cover tight ends and man, can come up and play the run, be the eighth man in the box, would really help them in defending some of the teams in their division. And they have so many picks that they can come back and address edge rusher, cornerback, at the top of the second round and with their other first round picks. So New York's in a good position to load up the roster. They just got to hit on these picks. Fifth overall, I have the Jags taking Derek Stingley, cornerback from LSU. Give them a number one corner to replace C.J. Henderson. Obviously, they have a solid vet there in Shaq Griffin. Tyson Campbell has been injured. He could come along, but they could use a true number one. Stingley definitely is a really good athlete, good size, speed, cover ability, so he could come in and be that number one for Jacksonville. Sixth overall, I have the Eagles taking Evan Neal, left tackle at Alabama. I think he should be a right tackle in the NFL, but the Eagles could use more offensive line talent, young offensive line talent. We'll see how long Lane Johnson sticks around there. They sign the left tackle. They could use help at guard as well. Neal could start out his career at guard, really beef up that offensive line, and then in time potentially move to right tackle to replace Lane Johnson. Seventh overall, I have the Giants taking Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher from Michigan. New York could really use another edge rusher to go across from Azeez Ojulari, finish off that front four with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence. So that would really help the Giants in terms of making teams have a difficult decision on how they're going to deploy double teams and whatnot. But another edge rusher would really help New York. Hutchinson is dangerous off the edge. He has good athleticism, speed, pass rushing moves, pass rush plan, could stand to get a little bit better as a run defender for runs coming downhill straight at him, but he's adequate against the run coming into the league, so I think he could be a really nice player for New York. Eighth overall, we got another New York pick here with the Jets taking Trent McDuffie, cornerback from Washington. Give them a number one cover corner. This will really help the Jets secondary. If you pair Hamilton and McDuffie, now you have two really good players, a good corner, a top-notch safety, and this is a deep edge rusher draft, so they could maybe get one in the second round or maybe trade back into the first for one. So I really like these picks as a pair for New York with how it's going to help their defense make a big jump. Ninth overall, I have the Redskins taking Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. Obviously, Washington doesn't have their future franchise quarterback on the roster. Ryan Fitzpatrick, aging veteran, Taylor Heineke looks like could be a really good backup in the NFL, maybe solid guy to help you get through a month or so if your starter goes down, but he doesn't look necessarily like a difference maker, like a championship caliber quarterback, and obviously they're going to need that in Washington if they're ever going to compete for a Super Bowl. 10th overall, I have Miami taking Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher from Florida State. He's had a really good season, has racked up a lot of tackles in the ground game, has gotten after the quarterback, really has been impressive and helped himself, and they could use more defensive line and edge rush talent across from Jalen Phillips. 11th overall, I have the Patriots taking Tariq Castro-Fields, cornerback from Penn State. Give them a potential number one corner. He's big, fast, athletic, has cover ability. J.C. Jackson could leave in free agency. Obviously, Stephon Gilmore was traded, so the Patriots are going to need some young talent at corner and a potential number one. 12th overall, I have the Broncos taking Rasheed Walker, left tackle from Penn State. Right tackle's been a hole for them for years. Give them a guy to help protect whoever it is at quarterback. This pick could easily be traded, but if they have it, taking a right tackle to fix that issue could make sense for Denver. 13th overall, I have the Colts taking Trevor Penning, left tackle from Northern Iowa. Anthony Costanzo retired. Eric Fisher was just signed to a one-year deal as a veteran to help him get through this season. So here's a long-term answer at left tackle. Penning is a monstrous-sized offensive tackle, good quickness and athleticism for a guy his size. So he could be that left tackle of the future for the Colts. Next up, we got Carolina at 14. I have them taking Nicholas Petit-Frere, left tackle from Ohio State. Really good athlete, has come on really strong last year and this year was at right tackle. Now he's at left tackle. Carolina has a big hole at the position. Their offensive line has been really neglected the past few off seasons with just journeymen, NFL journeymen who aren't that good, and it shows up when they take on a good opponent. So they got to improve that offensive line, and Petit-Frere would be a nice addition for them. 15th overall, sticking with offensive line, had a run at the position here. We got the Giants taking Abraham Lucas, right tackle from Washington State. They could use a right tackle to replace Nate Solder. Give them a bookend to go with Andrew Thomas. I think Lucas would be a nice fit there for the Giants. 16th overall, I have the Chiefs taking Jordan Davis, big nose tackle from Georgia. Really helped the Chiefs in the middle of their line in terms of stuffing runs, keeping their linebackers free to run and make tackles. And then also in the pass rush, he's going to help push the pocket, make it hard for quarterbacks to get away from Chris Jones and Frank Clark. So I think Jordan Davis would be a nice fit there in Kansas City. 17th overall, I have the Falcons taking George Karlaftis, defensive end from Purdue. Give them a tough edge rusher to go across from Dante Fowler. They could really use more talent on that side of the ball and some game changers, and Karlaftis is really impressive with his strength to get off blocks, ability to rush the quarterback with quickness and strength. Needs to get a bit stronger and tougher as a run defender, but the pass rush is there, and the NFL is a passing-driven league, especially the NFC South, so I think Karlaftis would be a good fit there for Atlanta. 18th overall, I have the Steelers taking Daniel Falele, right tackle from Minnesota. Monster of a man. He's huge, massive, moves pretty well, and has pretty good quickness for a guy his size, but definitely a right tackle in the NFL, or guard, not a left tackle candidate. But the Steelers got to get some more young talent on that offensive line, and Falele would really help them open up holes for Najee Harris. 19th overall, I have the Vikings taking Perrion Winfrey, defensive tackle from Oklahoma. They could use some youth on the inside of that defensive line. Winfrey has a serious interior pass rush ability, quickness and athleticism, burst to close. He'd be a nice fit there in Minnesota. 20th overall, I have the Browns taking Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas. Really impressive player, is having a phenomenal season here in 2021. Big guy, can box out corners, is fabulous on 50-50 balls, winning contested catches over defenders, has enough quickness to get downfield as well. Good route runner, tough. He's kind of similar to CeeDee Lamb, maybe not quite as fast as CD, but definitely Burks is a potential really good NFL pro starting outside receiver. In Cleveland, Odell Beckham's just not the same player he once was. His contract situation, the Jarvis Landry contract situation, odds are one or both of them are going to be gone before long. So here's a long-term weapon for Baker Mayfield. 21st overall, I have the Bills taking Josh Jobe, cornerback from Alabama. Big, fast, athletic, just inconsistent in coverage. If he was more consistent with his technique and eye discipline, things like that, he would probably be going higher based on his skill set. But he has some things to work out. Buffalo would be a great landing spot with that coaching staff, and he'd be the number 2 corner with Trey White there, so that would help him as well. And I think that would be a great landing spot for Jobe. And at this point of the draft, he could be a really nice value for the Bills. If they iron out that those technical issues, he's going to be a steal for someone. 22nd overall, I have the Chargers taking Ahmad Gardner, cornerback from Cincinnati. Big guy, has quickness, has some ball skills, has really played well this year and last year, and Chargers need some youth at corner. Casey Hayward's gone. Asante Samuel is more of an inside slot guy at his size, so Gardner would make sense as an outside corner, give them a potential number 1 out there. 23rd overall, the Saints taking DeMarvin Leal, defensive tackle from Texas A&M. Give them an interior pass rusher. He has good instincts against the run, needs to get a little tougher as a run defender, but in the Saints division, they really have to get after the quarterback, so I think Leal's a good fit there. They could use some youth on the inside of that defensive line. 24th overall, I have the Cowboys taking Travon Walker, edge rusher from Georgia. He's a tough defensive end, big, athletic, quick, really coming on this season. Week to week, he just is steady and consistent, tough in the ground game, getting after the quarterback. I think he'd be a great value for the Cowboys in the back half of the first round. Next up, we got the Titans at 25. I have them taking Zachary Carter, defensive lineman from Florida. Kind of similar to Leal in that defensive end, defensive tackle capability of playing both spots. Carter, his best fit might come as a 3 technique growing into that in the NFL, but he is a big edge rusher. When he lines up on the edge, has good size in that regard. It has quickness and athleticism. Looked good against Alabama the past 2 years, and the Titans need more young pass rush talent. I think he'd be a really good fit there up front. You pair him with Simmons, Bud Dupree, they're going to be able to get after the quarterback much more consistently. 26th overall, I have Cincinnati taking Darian Kennard, right tackle from Kentucky. Give them more offensive line help to help Joe Burrow. Kennard is big and nasty in the ground game. Joe Mixon will love running behind him, and he moves better than you'd expect for a guy when you're just looking at him. He's got pretty good feet and athleticism and quickness for a thick build, massive right tackle. 27th overall, the Packers taking Chris Olave, wide receiver from Ohio State. They got to get Jordan Love more long-term weapons. Even if Devontae Adams is re-signed, they need more solid, dependable number 2 and number 3 receivers. Obviously, Randall Cobb's not a long-term player at this point in his career, so getting Love, some guys that can uncover and get open for him will be important, and that's what Olave specializes in. 28th overall, I have the Lions taking Jahan Dotson, speedster wide receiver from Penn State. They just need best receiver available in the first round at one of their first rounders or high in the second. They got to get a guy that can make some plays for them in the passing game. Dotson is a really good player, really quick, can stretch defenses downfield, is a sharp route runner, creates separation with the suddenness and burst out of his cuts, and really tough. Impressive that he's not a big receiver, but he really goes up, lays his body on the line, makes dynamic leaping catches that you wouldn't expect from a smaller receiver. So I think he could definitely be a guy that ends up overcoming kind of the perceived shortcomings of not being the biggest receiver. So the Lions late in the first round, I think when you look at Olave, Dotson, Burks, those kind of guys, they got to get one of them to help that passing game. 29th overall, I have the Raiders taking Brandon Smith, linebacker from Penn State. Obviously, Las Vegas has needed linebacker help for years. Denzel Perryman has played really well for them this year. That was a great trade by the Raiders, and he's just been a tackling machine, really steady force, but they could use more talent around him, assuming they re-sign him after this year. And Smith is big, fast, physical, can cover, can defend the run, be a nice fit there next to Perriman. 30th overall, I have the Bucs taking Kaiir Elam, cornerback from Florida. Tampa Bay needs cornerback help. You assume that they're going to re-sign Carlton Davis. If they don't, then it's a massive need. But even if they do, they could use more help around him, and Elam would make sense as a really solid number 2. Good cover corner. Only thing with him is some speed concerns that scouts have, so the pre-draft running and workouts are going to be really important for him. If he runs well, he could really rise. But if he's not expected to run well, that's what scouts have told me, that what they've heard at Florida, he's not a blazer in the 40. So that hurts him. But I think late in the first round, he is a safe pick because he is a natural football player. Really good cover corner. Was excellent against Alabama early this year against their talented receivers. So I think that'd be a good pick for Tampa Bay. 31st overall, we have the Ravens taking Drake Jackson, edge rusher from USC. Get them a guy to pair with Jason Owe. 2 edge rushers, young edge rushers coming after quarterbacks. Jackson has a lot of good ability, upside. I don't like how USC has used him over the past few years. They've dropped him in coverage too much. Looks like they've kind of moved him around a lot, when I would really like to see them just put him as a natural defensive end and just go after the quarterback and really focus on that. But at any rate, I think he could be a nice value for someone, because I think it's hurting him in terms of the production and how he's going to get viewed. So late in the first round, I think that could be a sleeper pick that ends late first round, second round. I think Drake Jackson could be a sleeper that turns into a good value. 32nd overall, I have Arizona taking Jalen Weidermeyer, tight end from Texas A&M. He'd be a really good scheme fit, really good route runner, big, quick, athletic guy, be a nice weapon for Kyler Murray. Obviously, A.J. Green's not a long-term player at this point of his career, so he would give them some size to go with DeAndre Hopkins and their other young speed receivers like Rondale Moore. And Zach Ertz, similar kind of thing, not a long-term player at this point of his career, so even if he is coming back next year, now you have a double tight end package that's dangerous, and in due time, Weidermeyer is their lead tight end for Arizona. All right, that's the first round. Let's get into the teams that didn't have first-round picks. So 39th overall, we have Seattle taking Jermaine Waller, cornerback from Virginia Tech. He's a ball hawk, is big, long, really fits the Seahawks scheme well. They got to improve that secondary. The cornerback play has been a weakness for years now. Needs more resources there. I think Waller would be a good fit. Second up of these teams that don't have first-rounders is the 49ers at pick 42. Have them taking Andrew Booth, Jr., cornerback from Clemson. Another corner with good size, speed, athleticism. I think he'd be a good fit there for the 49ers. 46th overall, we have the Bears taking John Mechie, wide receiver from Alabama. Even if Allen Robinson's brought back, they could use more receiving talent for Justin Fields. So there should be some nice quality receiving values there for the Bears in the second round, I think, this year, given how the receiving class is shaping up. So the Bears, I definitely think, protecting Fields, weaponizing Fields with receivers, getting better offensive line, that's got to be the priority for Chicago in the offseason. 59th overall, I have the Rams taking Roger McCreary, cornerback from Auburn. They could use more cornerback talent across from Jalen Ramsey. McCreary is not a big corner. He's a little on the undersized side, but this guy can really play. He is a natural football player, instinctive, tough, good ball skills, runs the route, prevents separation, and with the Rams already having a number one and Ramsey, McCreary's a great fit because you can play him inside in the slot. You can also play him up outside depending on the team you're matching up against. So I think he'd be a really good fit there for the Rams, and if Raheem Morris stays, I think McCreary would be a great fit in Raheem Morris's defense. So that's this week's mock. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please check out all our links below, the position rankings, the Walt's weekly picks, his videos with Jacob as well, my mock. I got all kinds of other draft content on Walter Football, and please like the video, share it, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll be back with you guys soon. I love all of you. Please be safe and take care. Talk to you later. Thanks.